then it's time for us to just put the imperial hat back on to say, we're going to govern those countries if you're incapable of governing yourselves, because enough is enough. We're done being invaded.
Because our own national security risk is at stake.
Exactly.
National security interests are at stake.
You could say that about pretty much all of Africa. They're incapable of governing themselves and benefiting their citizens because the governments there are all about looting and pillaging and lining their pockets and going shopping in Paris instead of actually making their country a better
People on the left are going to watch this. They're going to say, wait a minute, Eric Prince is talking about being a colonialist again.
Absolutely. Yes.
67 years of independence. Happy birthday, Ghana. Happy Independence Day. Now, rolling on to what we have to do today. Blackwater. I think it's been like a word that has been going around this week. We've all seen the videos of Eric Prince. Now, let me give you a little background to Eric Prince. I did a little bit of digging. He's an American businessman, former U.S. Navy SEAL officer, and the founder of the private military company Blackwater. He served as Blackwater CEO until 2009 and as its chairman until it sold to a group of investors in 2010. Now, how much is it worth? Why is this guy so interesting and so important to the military apparatus? Now, his net worth is estimated to be around $2.4 billion as of this year, 2024. Now, how did he make his money? By being a founder and also running Blackwater, as well as through investments in various industries such as mining, energy, and aerospace. Now, what is generating all this buzz? Now, this guy came out a few days ago saying Africa should be recolonized, right? They need to put their imprints back on Africa, put us in our place, rightful place where we belong, as in be servants of our Western masters. So this is what we're going to discuss about today on DLS Wave. All right, back again, DLS. So to give you a bit more context on the introduction, Blackwater USA was formed on December 26, 1996. Now by two guys, Al Clark and Eric Prince. Now Eric Prince is the guy in question today, in North Carolina, to provide training support to the military and law enforcement organizations. Now, Eric Prince stated that this is pretty much the idea behind Blackwater. We're trying to do for the national security apparatus what FedEx did for the postal service. So this was all to give you a context, a brief context about who this guy is, the capacity that he's in, right? Because at the end of the day, we kind of brush a lot of things off. People say stuff, he's just talking. So with this guy's background, do you think it should be taken lightly? Or do you think the African government, be AU or ECOWAS or this bloc, should do something about it?
You see, this is why Africa, we don't need to welcome or entertain military bases in our country, because we're already vulnerable. We are vulnerable as a continent because our military, they don't have the accoutrement,
the capacity,
and so when somebody like him, with his expertise, his knowledge in military welfare and whatever, goes on a program and is talking like this, we should be scared.
And he looks like he meant it. He was not, just...
Yeah. Even if we take it like he's joking, we still should be scared. Why? Because he knows, he has the links. He has the experience. You
he
understand?
Has the company.
And history,
he has the company.
I always go back to history. History always is there to teach us that things like this is how it starts. So we should not sit there and just think, oh, he's just speaking for speaking's sake. We should be scared. African leaders should sit up.
All right, I like that. Now, do you think we should take this guy seriously, or we should just be like, one of those rhetorics?
I think that the way things play out now, it's not something that should be taken lightly, because mercenary groups are very, very dangerous. Sometimes they're even better equipped than some national armies.
Yeah.
If you look at most countries, they spend a certain percentage of their budget on military and security. But mercenary groups, all the money they have, they invest in in recruitment and ammunition.
Trainings.
So sometimes, yes, they are better equipped than army. So if somebody like that who is saying that out of experience, if he's speaking like that, then he's probably coming from an experienced point of view, and he knows that it's possible they can do it. I mean, they have the capacity to do it. So it shouldn't be taken lightly. But I think that I don't always want to blame African leaders, but I think that bodies like the African Union, these are some of the things they should pick up and start to not fight back, but to make comments on. Because if we allow people like this to make comments and we just allow it to stay on the internet, and countries can actually ask social media networks to take certain things down.
Yeah, so that's what I'm coming back to.
We don't do anything.
We need to clarify this. In your opinion, right? 2 words, pick one. Do you think it's just a rhetoric, or this is a serious threat that the African continent should take seriously?
I'll say it's serious.
It's a threat, direct threat.
And we as African, like the organizations governing Africa, they've not done well. You know, keeping quiet has not been good for us.
Right.
For years. And that is why people, somebody like him, will get up and make such a threatening statement.
Right.
Right?
And these are like undertones that can be inflamed. So
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. In your opinion, do you think it's just, rhetoric, or it's a threat to be taken seriously?
It's hard for me to say, but what I will say is, if something like this is not quenched, and some other person has an interest somewhere in Africa, they could actually use the services of this Blackwater, because now they know there's somebody like that
who is have the
entity that exists.
Yeah.
So if we need them, we can get them. We just need to be able to pay the price. So they themselves the threat might not be real, but it's introducing themselves to the world, that we are available. If we need us, you can use our services.
All
That's
right.
the dangerous
This is
part
getting
of it.
interesting. Now, my next question is going to be for you.
Yeah.
The question is, do you think, if nobody really cares, do you think the AU, African Union, should open an investigation into this? Is it necessary to waste resources,
They should have even
time?
come out with a statement already, not even an investigation. You don't need an investigation for this. He's on video.
He said it, yeah.
He said it.
No, but he's just said this. We can say it's just.
And
already,
being an
right?
African,
Yeah.
being an African, I'm disgusted by comment like this. Because we are all trying to move on as different countries and as a continent. We know we are a little bit back with development and policies and stuff. But anytime we take a step, you have people like this guy who will come and say such a thing just to ignite people. Because not only his organization that can come and do the job, we also know within our continent we have groups that have that kind of mindset, and they are just waiting for an opportunity,
An incitement.
yes,
Okay.
just to say, okay, this is it. So this is not a time for this kind of comments. So as an organization like the AU, like you mentioned earlier, there's no release a statement. If it was to be those other countries, those quote unquote developed countries that takes things like this serious, this guy will be in hot waters.
Yeah, I did not mean to cut you off, but my point is, I mentioned investigation because, you can say this is just all talk, right? But to investigate, to know if there's a real motive behind what he's saying. Do you think it's necessary to pour in resources?
Yeah, I think that we can call for an investigation by the AU, but at the end of the day, do we even have a body that is credible enough to do such an investigation? AU. At the end of the day, what arm of AU is going to do this investigation? At the end of the day, we know how Africa is. We're just going to employ the services of a private investigative body, and we are not even know if they are bedfellows with some of these people they are going to investigate. So at the end of the day, we still don't have, I don't know of any structure that we have that can
if a
go
serious
deep into
country,
it.
or a serious continent, let me put it this way, a serious continent or a serious country will put this guy on no-flight zone. Easy, because it's a threat. I'm telling you, if any of us, in this video, we make some threat, like the way he has done, I'm telling you, tomorrow morning, Tomorrow morning is far.
Okay, now this is just the appetizer, right? Let's get down to the main course.
Yeah.
Now, he said he believes, right?
Yeah.
Africa should be recolonized. Now, we've heard it time and time again. Remember our last episode, there was a guy also saying the same thing. The Africans should be responsible for our own inadequacies, blah, blah, blah. So the question now is, does he have a point? Do you think it's better for Africa to be recolonized, to be told what to do in order for it to develop? Because the West is going to bring everything that is going to, necessitate that development.
What audacity does he have in 2024 to tell Africa how we should structure our stuff?
He's not really saying, he's not telling you how to.
Hold on.
Said,
I'm just asking, I'm just being mischievous.
Yeah, I get it. But we need to understand what he said. He said it in the context of the leaders not being able to provide
Hold on.
the citizens.
Hold on. Okay. What audacity does he have? Because we can complain. Yeah? And all this mess that most of these African countries are going through is because of his ancestors. Let's facts. You understand? So what audacity does he have? And then come back and say we need to be recolonized. Hold on. Even if you go through history, certain countries, colonization didn't help any of those countries. So what is he talking about? They should come back and come and cut some of our hands like they did, enslave, put people on ships and rape our...
I think the audacity comes from the fact that,
they've done it before.
No, we Africans and we're in Africa and they're in heaven. So he's got the audacity to say whatever he's got to say. But no, that notwithstanding, the point is you're missing the point.
What
do
is the
you
point?
think he's got a point in saying Africa needs to be recolonized?
No, he doesn't have a point. That's why I'm asking you, what audacity does he have?
But that's what I'm trying to tell you, that he thinks the way things are being run on the continent.
Look at the country he's coming from. There are places I would not like to live there.
Okay.
There are places in that same country I would not, because that place, drugs and this and that do... The place is coming from is so huge that a state can be considered a country. And if you look at that state, it's in tatters. So you look at that, do I sit here and say somebody should go there and recolonize that place? Okay,
no, I'm not saying that to be just, to be frivolous or whatnot, because I think I've heard a few people say that before, that it was better when a lot of African countries were in that era, because everything was far better than our governments actually.
Listen, those people saying that, and we've all thought about it sometime, like that. But wait until it
You've
happens.
thought about that before?
No, I've questioned, because we are way behind infrastructure-wise, and you look at, let's say, for example, roads that have been done years and is still in good nick, and you look at the roads that are being done today, sometimes you tend to think, if in the olden days they are able to do that, then it might be better. But the thing is, there is a proverb, because it hasn't happened to you, you can sit back and say, oh, why is he crying foul? Wait till you find yourself in that position. When
someone tells you when to sleep and when to wake up.
When to wake up, then I came from a generation where I saw what curfew actually means.
Yeah.
You understand? So I know, I can feel it when you have to sleep, when you don't want to sleep.
I got it. Let me run over to this side pretty quick. Now, I'm saying that because, like I said, I've heard a few people echo those sentiments about saying a lot of the infrastructures they have currently in their countries were built during the colonial era. Yeah. So they're like, if we probably had left the masters still around, we probably would have been better off than what we have right now. Do you think that makes sense to any degree?
To a certain degree, to a small degree, yes, because of how we can see, because of how we see them run their economies and their countries, we can say that to a certain degree. But I refuse to accept the fact that we cannot govern ourselves. We just haven't got things right, and we just don't have laws that punish wrongdoers. So the few people amongst us who get the chance to lead us, they do a lot of pilfering with impunity because they know nothing is going to happen to them. It's not the fact that we can't run our own systems. It's just the fact that we don't have laws that punish wrongdoers, because there are wrongdoers everywhere. Coming back to that point, I don't think he has any business telling us. If he has a business telling anybody on how to run their country, then he should tell his own country, not go cross.
Interfere
because
with people.
as far as we are concerned, he doesn't belong in Africa. He's not Africans. You can make an opinion, but you cannot make a strong opinion to the extent of saying that somebody else should go across the sea to colonize somebody on the other side.
Yeah.
When we all know the history of slavery and how terrible it was, and everybody is trying to nip it in the bud. So in terms of having a point, maybe listening to the message, yes, he has a point. He's trying to send a message that we are not, we've been left behind. That I accept. But to the extent that calling for one country to go and recolonize Africa, I think it's wrong, and he has no business in African affairs. He should keep, and for me, I think if he has no interest, because these mercenary groups, they profit on some of these things.
Yeah.
Because then they send them out, they get billions in payments and all that. If there is no interest, I don't think he'll make that statement, because he has nothing to, Africa doesn't interest him in any way. I think he only benefit if his group is sent out there to do some work. So
to add on top of what, if you read about this same guy, we should be scared, because his organization, it's on record. Anybody can check. They've done so many awful things in the States. But because they are being covered by, the leadership, they go about their business like, that is why he has the audacity to come and sit and talk like that. What does he have to do in Africa?
And I want to go back to the audacity thing you talked about. Why would he have that? Why would he even have that power, that authority? Because everybody is walking over Africa.
Yeah.
Tony Blair said Africa is a scar on the conscience of the world.
Yeah.
That statement, in the real sense of it, is true.
Yeah.
Because we are not getting our shit right.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's not your business. We are sovereign countries.
On top
if
of
we
it,
are
they don't
dying,
allow
let
us
us
to
kill ourselves.
Leave us alone,
solve
man.
our problems ourselves. When mankind was created, it wasn't ordained on one race or one person to supervise another. If I say I want to kill myself, it is not the right thing, but let me do it. Stay out there and enjoy yourself if you think that's... So for me, I think that outright it should be condemned. He has no business in African affairs. As long as he's not African.
I'm listening to the arguments real
It's
carefully,
a threat, but seriously, it is a threat. We have to take it serious, because I wasn't there when the colonials came, but it started somewhere.
Yeah.
If you read, you do your research, they went for a meeting, they started discussing these things like, and then it became a reality. He has started, and look at his structure, his organization. Look at how big they are. You understand?
I do.
It is not something we just sit and just take it. Oh, it is another person going after Africa and saying what they think Africans should do. You understand?
Yeah.
We've kept quiet far too long.
All right. So the question now that's going through my head is, he's talking about recolonizing. But the biggest question in my head right now is, are we really out of that era though? Are we still not colonized? Because we claim we're independent, but are we really though? Or because the new word is now more of like dependent? Because it looks like Africa cannot function without the West. It's something to argue about. So that's what I'm saying, that I understand he has no right saying what he said, and it's not something you should even say on camera. It's very derogatory. I don't even know. It's like there's a whole lot of things you can say about what he said, right? But let's look at it from a standpoint of, are we really not under the influence of our colonizers?
We are, to some extent, because of certain laws that have been put in place that we all don't have, we are not privy to. But, for me, they should allow us. Just stay away. Let us make our own mistakes. Let's make our mistakes. We'll get it right. Africa was in Africa what it is today. It was a powerful place before it is. Things have changed. We know, and some of us, we are recognizing it. The youth, the young ones coming, they're also seeing it. It took Europe. Do you know how long it took Europe? Sometimes they think we don't know their history. Go to the Rome. Go and check what happened in Rome. What they were doing before now they are what they are. So, but we cannot go, oh, let's just go and do this. Let's just leave us alone, man. Let us be. We know our leaders have failed us to some extent, but like I'm saying, some of us, we are seeing the light, or most of us are seeing the light now. It will take some time. Rome was not built in a day. That was why they have that proverb. Rome was not built, so we will build our own continent. But you know what the problem is? Their problem is the fear. The fear. It's fear.
What fear is that?
The fear of us doing things by ourselves, without them.
Right.
Or without
what is the repercussion for? Why would they fear that?
Without their influence. Listen, the world is what it is, and I'll say it all the time. The world is what it is because of Africa. If I say because of Africa,
I get it. I get
it
that
is
part. Yeah.
the resources and everything. You understand?
Okay.
So it is fear of having something cheap, like you just go and pick and go, and then all of a sudden when you go, there are prices on it, and that is what they are scared of.
Do you really think there is a need for recolonization, or they are already colonizing?
I think
Because it looks like most of our leaders, as we discussed in the previous episode, are still under the under the
control.
Yeah, tethers and whatnot of the West. So are they already colonizing? Is there a need for recolonization?
I will come from the great Dr. Kwame Nkrumah when he foresaw in the 1960s and brought out this term neo-colonization. He said that the colonizers are gone, but neo-colonialism is what well and alive or something or something like that. And we can see it. I mean, if foreign governments would fund a percentage of your GDP, they might not be doing it glaringly in your face, but at the back or under the table, they are still controlling you. You might not call it colonization, call it what you want, but it's still basically the same thing. That if you allow somebody to pay your school fees, then they can tell you what school you should go to and what grades you should get. So until we are able to stop funding of our projects or our GDPs from foreign countries, you can't say no most of the time. So we have to accept the fact that yes, they still control aspects of the management of our countries. But that doesn't mean that they should have absolute control. But then again, individuals can come out and say any rubbish about Africa because they know that we're still in the hands of their governments.
Yeah, you cannot.
So until we get our things sorted out, we really cannot detach ourselves from this.
Literally,
kind of
we are in a chokehold. Yeah, we are in a chokehold where
whatever you say, they just
or they
squeeze a little bit more.
They hold your, when you cough,
right?
You know.
All right, that's gonna sum it up. I mean, the rest is over to you guys. I always try to make this point and drive it home. These are just opinions, all right? You got yours, we got ours. Now, on a more personal note, I feel like when you mention fear, right? I feel like it's the fear of losing Africa to China, so to speak, right? I feel like this is why it's always China, because I feel like Chinese come in, of course they're also peddling for influence, but they come in a way that is what, like one, I think the former Greek prime minister said, they're non-interventionist. They come in, it's all business, right? And it's all negotiation. So I feel like the way they're using their soft power to get a lot of deals, a lot of trust from the African continent, it bothers some of our Western friends. So I feel like it's more the fear of losing, Africa doesn't belong to anybody, so to speak, but it's more of the fear of losing Africa to the Chinese. I mean, that's what
some people think it belongs to. Some people think Africa belongs to them.
But that's what I'm saying. So this is what I'm saying. That there've been statements made like that. And it's almost like a job, right? If you're a teacher, you're a nurse, you're a doctor, what do? You work on patients, you work on your students. So I feel like this guy with this background, what else is he going to talk about without a military intervention, right? That's all he knows. So from us here, this is what we think. We think what he said was out of taste is there some truth in it? Absolutely not. You know, you dare not say these kind of like, you know, remarks against an entire group of, it's not even like a country. It's a continent, you know. Africa has got 54 countries in it, and you cannot say we should recolonize them, like be masters. That is the most narcissistic thing anybody can say.
If I can chip in something 1 second.
Yeah,
and
chip in.
let it not be lost on anyone that the Africa of 10, 20 years ago is not the Africa of today.
I was coming
The
to
young
that.
people
To
of
that.
Africa are not
Thank you very
our
much.
grandparents anymore.
Yeah, he took the words out of my. I was about to say the same thing. He thinking recolonize. He's not gonna have it as easy as he thought.
No,
they had it back then, right?
And there's one thing I want to say. Yeah, they keep talking about the reason why they want to recolonize us is because we are not developed. It means we, the youth, or the youth back home, they have nothing to lose. So you might have all your weapons or whatever, but we don't have. And there's a saying: you have to be fearful of somebody who have nothing to lose in this life.
All right. So based on that last word, that's like I just said, right? I do not know if this is really like a threat or a rhetoric, but at the end of the day, it was just distasteful. You don't say this.
Yeah, you don't.
It's
Talk
2024.
like that.
The world has moved past that.
Yeah.
And I believe if he meant what he said, he should like rethink it, because like he said, I don't think people it's gonna work out like it did.
Yeah.
Centuries ago or millennials ago, whatever the word is, right? So from us, one thing we can say is, if you don't love me,
Go away.
that's it.
If you don't love me, go away.
That's it. If you don't love us, leave us be. That's
Let us be,
that's
yeah.
what it's supposed to be, right? Let people.
It's none of
be.
your business.
It's not your problem. You develop, you're enjoying your heaven. Let us be. That's it. All right. So from us to you, if you don't love us,
Go away.
see ya on the next episode.